Yes.
Most people look forward to leaving hospital and going home, but during the first few weeks after a heart attack, it can be an anxious time. This chapter looks at what to expect when you leave hospital and explores how you can continue your recovery safely at home.
Do you have anyone that can come and help you?
Well, I would like somebody to come and help. And
Before you leave hospital, healthcare professionals will assess your needs and agree an individual plan with you for your recovery and rehabilitation. This will tell you about what you should be allowed or encouraged to do.
The nurse's job is to check everything. We check the social input, who is at home, how many steps they've got, who looks after them, who does the cooking. Sometimes the patient could be living on his own or her own, and we get involved with social workers, local social security, home help if they need it. So we organise a lot. We make sure we give them a safe discharge and they are comfortable to be discharged. So we don't discharge a patient unless they're ready. The left branches.
In some areas in the country, you may be telephoned or visited at home by a nurse to see how you are. Or you may be given contact numbers for a helpline service or your local cardiac rehabilitation centre. If you need medical advice once you're at home, contact your GP.
At the moment, no concerns. Looking forward to going home, relaxing, and see how it goes. And hopefully everything will be all right and don't have to come back.
For some people, though, when the time comes to go home and they leave the carefully monitored environment of the hospital ward, new worries can start to surface.
Well, everybody wants to come home, away from hospital, really, but on the day I was leaving the hospital, I felt a bit panicky because you feel you're in a safe environment there. And so I was a bit worried about coming home at first, but they assured me that, you know, we wouldn't be letting you go home if we thought anything was wrong, you'll be fine. You feel very safe in the hospital. So I was a bit frightened of going outside the door at first, in case you take ill when you go out. And then I just started to have a little walk. Just a little walk, and to my friends in the next street there. That was the first time I went outside the house. And then I just increased it each day, doing a little bit more walking and a little bit further, just to get my confidence back, really.
Many people wonder if they will have another heart attack. Unfortunately, having one heart attack does increase the risk of having another. However, if you take the medicines that you've been prescribed and if you follow a healthy lifestyle, you can dramatically reduce that risk.
I wanted to come home. I think that's the best place to recover, is at home. Being in like your own surroundings and that. I think adapted it to it all very well.
The main surprise was when she first came home that she was so weak, in a sense of she couldn't lift a kettle or really do anything, household chores at all. So in a case it was for me to take over and to just give her the help that she needed. And gradually over the space of 3, 4, 6 weeks later, you could see the improvement.
I found it hard not being able to do things. I thought I could do them mentally, but physically I knew I couldn't.
Many people find they tire easily in the early stages after a heart attack. This is normal and will usually pass as your strength and confidence return.
It's very tiring. People forget how absolutely exhausting being stressed can be if they're at all worried. It burns a lot of calories, it takes a lot of energy just to keep going. So although they may feel, I should be doing more, and a lot of people think, oh, I should be getting on now, I should be, even day 2, I'll be doing a bit more than yesterday. But just the worry of everything can actually be draining you, and it's quite acceptable just to take your own time.
During the first few days after going home, try to get up, wash and dress and do some light household activities. Go up and down the stairs a few times a day and do some gentle walking. As the weeks go by, aim to do a little more each day. Try not to be afraid of going outside. Walking is an ideal form of exercise in the early weeks after a heart attack. However, if you feel unwell doing any activity, contact your GP.
When we arrived home from the hospital, we were told very slowly to start working up to a routine from about 5 minutes to half an hour over a period of a fortnight. So we used to come here to Devil's Point.
You can sit on a seat, you can have a look at the view, and you know, you can just go your own pace and you can enjoy it.
Different people will be able to do different amounts of exercise. Ask your GP or cardiac rehabilitation nurse if you're not sure how much exercise you should be doing. It's natural to feel a bit nervous about exercising after a heart attack, but remember, the heart is a muscle, and like any other muscle in the body, it needs exercise to keep it in good condition. And getting out in the fresh air and doing some deep breathing exercises will help you feel better and lift your spirits. This early period at home may also be tiring and difficult for partners. If you are looking after someone who's had a heart attack, try to get rest yourself and don't try to do too much for them.
The key thing is communication. So first of all, the patient or the person that's had the heart attack needs to communicate with their family of how they're feeling. And if they're having a bad day and feel weepy, just tell them that. Try not to hide it, because that will increase their anxieties. For the carer, they need to read the literature, inform themselves about what's happened and what's likely to happen, and more importantly, to support them through it, and not, in particular, not to mollycoddle them, not to wrap them in cotton wool, because that actually increases the stress for the patient, because they feel, is this what I've got to look forward to?
Luckily enough, I've finished work, so they want the stress of going to work as well, you know, doing that, so that was quite a plus, you know.
We just had to take things together and talk about things, and he's been really good where I can rely on him, sort of thing, and he had to do everything in the house for me when I came home, because you've got to rest for quite some time, so I was lucky that he was able to do all that for me.
Everybody needs to work their way back to what they used to do in a slow, steady way. But apart from that, the best thing you can do as a partner of somebody is to encourage them to gradually resume everything that they used to do in a planned, simple way. Set some goals, make sure the goals are sensible and attainable, wait till the person's achieving that quite easily, then get them to set another goal. That's the best way to get back to normal.
During your recovery at home, you'll have the chance to think about your lifestyle. There may be some areas which you'll want to change to reduce the risk of another heart attack. We discuss some of the positive steps you can make in the other chapters on this DVD. For some patients, life after a heart attack can feel better than before.
You know, most people, something like 12 weeks after a heart attack, say, my quality of life is as good, if not better, than it was before the heart attack. And that's usually because they've stopped smoking, they've started to take more exercise, they've thought more about their relationships and how important their family are. They've thought about, what have I achieved in life? And they've looked back and they've reflected and taken pleasure instead of constantly thinking about what they want to achieve in the future. So nobody would bring a heart attack or angina on themselves willingly, but there are positives in it. And there are people who will tell you, and families who will tell you, that my partner is a better, nicer, more sensible person since the heart attack than they were before.